Hey, what's going on? It's Chris Chill here, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. This is a video I always want to react to the moment I saw the title of it. You feel me? This is a very important video considering the controversies around Tekken 8, and it's a must. You gotta check it out, man. Shout out to this guy, Virtua Bros. And this is an old ass video. I thought about 8 years in the making right here, bro. And I can't even imagine a better relative video than this one, bro. So let's get busy to the mix. I have like a sort of level understanding of Virtual Fighter, but bear with me. So let's get busy.
In my previous video, Why Virtua Fighter is More Important Than Tekken, I argued that the significance of Virtua Fighter overshadows that of Tekken based on three main considerations. First, that Virtua Fighter...
I didn't watch it, disclaimer, I didn't watch the previous video, I'm just watching this one. Right off the gate. Because on a basic level, Virtua Fighter was the foundation of Tekken. The guy who worked on the first Tekken games, excluding, I think, 3 maybe? I do know he worked on 1 and 2, was the guy who made Virtua Fighter. Any fundamentals you could think of originated from Virtua Fighter. Virtua Fighter, if anything, the father of 3D fighting games. The pioneer, if you want to say that. That's the big boss. This is Virtua Fighter right here. So, to see a character from Virtua Fighter pulling up in Dead or Alive, just paying homage to the guys who brought them in the first place. Both Dead or Alive and Tekken. Especially Tekken. Any other fighting games like Soul Calibur and damn. I can't think of anything else, I'm sorry. You shout out to Virtua Fighter, man.
Single-handedly invented the 3D fighting game genre and also established many enduring tropes such as air juggling, ring outs, and a de-emphasis on projectile attacks. Second, by influencing the progression of the gaming industry as a whole, through serving as the inspiration for console architects to transition in earnest toward a market focused primarily on games that utilized 3D technology, as well as providing the impetus for video game designers to reinvigorate and pioneer the action-adventure, first-person shooter, and open-world exploration genres.
Shenmue, oh boy. Boy. I forgot whether Shenmue 1 was put up in PS2, PS1. If I remember correctly, oh my gosh, I think I gotta do a background check. It had to be Shenmue, like, I'm gonna do a background check in a second. But I think it came out on PS1.
And third, by stating that Virtua Fighter's gameplay design remains to this day as the most technical, complex, balanced, and in-depth 3D fighting game franchise of all time. This last point was something that I previously considered to be uncontroversial, so I neglected to provide specific examples contrasting the depth between Virtua Fighter and Tekken. Instead, I made a vague analogy that failed to satisfy many viewers who were not willing to accept the immense depth of Virtua Fighter games as something that could be taken for granted. The amount of feedback I received from devoted members of the fighting game community...
Let me go back a little bit, man. That was bad. I didn't know it was...
This last point was something that I previously considered to be uncontroversial, so I neglected to provide specific examples contrasting the depth between Virtua Fighter and Tekken. Instead, I made a vague analogy that failed to satisfy many viewers who were not willing to accept the immense depth of Virtua Fighter games as something that could be taken for granted. The amount of feedback I received from devoted members of the fighting game community caught me a bit off guard, and I landed myself more than a little ire from fans of the Tekken series.
Despite that's bound to happen, man, because Tekken, to anybody who ever played Tekken, period, to them, is the holy grail of fighting games. They'll mistakenly call Tekken the father of fighting games, the grandfather of fighting games. Game people own it every day. Now you can talk about Virtua Fighter. I was one of that guys. I neglected Virtua Fighter because I thought Tekken was just a better fighting game overall. Fighter, good, like decent, good game mechanics, better lore, aesthetic, tone, everything. certain character arcs I like in the first what 4 seconds, I think. I'll save it. To this day, I still say that the story peaked at 4. Everything else slightly derailed in 5, but it went overboard with 6. And 7 solidified that. And 8 gave you the promise of a better story, but it was serviceable to just bleh. Anyway, let me just. So all I'm saying, all I'm saying is like Tekken fans can go crazy over anything, especially Virtua Fighter. Insane work. Without even thinking about like how they could have gotten Tekken the way it is now if it wasn't for Virtua Fighter. I love like representing the founders of things. Like give them their due, their their respect, because Tekken ran because Virtua Fighter walked. Period. So I give that respect.
Many commenters were extremely helpful in providing constructive feedback and helped me to quickly realize what a waste it would be to miss an opportunity to go into some specifics comparing the depth between these two great franchises. However, to provide a fully detailed and exhaustive, in-depth treatment of either series' fundamental mechanics, strategies, and meta-game theory would require several videos, each multiple hours in length. That is something that is beyond my available time and resources to create.
Damn.
So this examination will suffice it to speak mostly in general terms, with a few specific examples and insights to help convey the basic gist of the concepts provided. If you would like a more detailed analysis of Virtua Fighter's game design and strategy, with frame data and input displays, I recommend a 2-hour and 40-minute video by Mr. EX Dandy J that covers the basics of Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown. Sega of America also has a useful series of videos that serves as a tutorial for reaching high-level play in Final Showdown. For Tekken, I recommend checking out some of That Blasted Salami's videos. I will leave links in the description below. To those who have waited patiently for this installment and anyone else stopping by, I hope you enjoy the video. It's a lot of fun to be able to talk.
Oh, I'm bugging. It was basically maybe the Dreamcast. Shenmue 1 came out on the Dreamcast. I don't see anything with the PS1. Maybe I was bugging about that. I don't know.
Talk about these amazing games.
Let me just skip
to fighting games. Many wonder what is depth in the first place. In respect to fighting games, many wonder whether depth is something that can be objectively evaluated at all. If depth is merely a subjective concept, then analyzing Virtua Fighter and Tekken from this approach would only result in superficial chest beating without ever reaching a clear resolution on the subject.
Oh, of course.
Fortunately, I feel that I can offer a definition that will aid in the attempt to treat depth as a quantifiable measurement. Some have noted that balance is an important component of any truly deep fighting game. However, balance itself is not enough to provide a deep gameplay experience. Imagine a fighting game in which there is only one playable character. Every match in this game would result in a mirror match, and, since competing players would have the exact same character with all the same moves, this would technically be a perfectly balanced game. However, a game such as this would be shallow, as it would lack a variety of characters, fighting styles, and a diverse list of characters' moves and abilities.
I don't think, bro. I wonder he checked it out. It was this game that came out like years back. It's called Footsies. You don't have different characters like that. Nah, it just flat out. You're doing footsies. Like they're doing the real big foot move, the forward hitting move, the big foot move. You know what I'm saying? And doing some real down medium kick. Yeah. Tech low. That's like the only two moves you have. The whole thing about footsies is like what it is. Like footsie, how good is your footsies? How well can you time it? Type of thing. That was not the only game I can make reference overall. But yeah, I get what you're saying, bro. That would be very boring. Because no one talked about that game.
A game's complexity, the total number of strategies available for a player to achieve an objective, is also a crucial aspect taken into account when considering the depth of a game. Variety and complexity, then, account for how many options a game offers its players. These factors, as with balance, also fail to capture the essence of depth in themselves. This becomes particularly clear when examining the merits of a game from a competitive perspective. Take, for example, the highly esteemed Marvel vs. Capcom 2. This classic boasts an enormous roster with addictive gameplay that
Look, I gotta stop him right here. This is what I was talking about. See that? That was the game I was talking about. This is an old tablet I had. I had it since 2021. Ignore the smudges. That's all I was talking about. See that? That's the game I'm talking about, bro. That is dope. Oh my gosh. I think I have a Shoryuken too. I think it got updated. I don't know. I think it got 10 out of 10 on Steam. You'll love that game. Sheesh. I'll try that one of these days.
provides for hundreds of possible combinations for team-ups, character moves, and strategies. However, this game famously lacks balance, as any player wanting to get into the competitive scene is relegated to the selection of about 12 or so optimized teams, when the game itself appears to offer a huge combinatorial permutation of possible options on the surface. This is why variety and gameplay complexity are not enough to create a truly deep fighting game if the options they provide for a player are merely false choices at a competitive level. A deep game should have a large number of viable strategies for victory, where the number of choices are not only plentiful, but also optimal and effective.
That is true gaming right there. We will have the fluidity to do almost anything to just body your opponents, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I can't stand the fact that the days of fighting games is always gonna be patches. Rewriting, not even rewriting characters, but hey, improving new mechanics or just taking away mechanics. I recently watched a video by Hobby Chaos. If you don't believe I'm not that good with Hobby Chaos, just check out my videos on him. I play that guy. He's pretty fun to play as a zoner slash rushdown character. But nowadays, he became a flat out rushdown character, which I don't like. In version 2 of Good to Give a Stride, this dude sucks. The limited options you can have with this guy, there's no longer rushdown options, man. He is food to any experienced fighting game player. Period. You don't even play the game well enough to understand how garbage Happy Chaos had become, and it's sad, bro. He was like a major contender. Even though the new moves he had with the like teleport guns, shoot up or low, high or low, the dude still sucks because one of his reticles move sets is you just being close enough to just get into the mix with the standing heavy slash. I think her special now was just bad, and the ball thing we helped him focus. It's a blockable thing now. It's like, bro, it does no damage. Why gotta be blocked? The thing doesn't do any damage. We ain't pissed now. We ain't pissed. It sucks overall. I don't want to get in the mix. It sucks. Like, blocking a non-damaging move is insane. Check it out yourself.
Game depth, then, can be thought of as the intersection between variety and balance, between complexity and optimal gameplay. A deep game needs to offer true choice, a large number of effective characters, command inputs, and viable strategies available to a player at any given moment.
Pretty fair.
Based on this definition, Tekken is an undeniably deep game, and an intensely entertaining one at that. Tekken is a series that I enjoy quite a lot, and Tekken 7 is the most fun I've had playing a fighting game in a long time.
Tekken 7,
I can sit and watch slow motion compilations for hours.
Oh, that's funny.
Okay, so here were my options. A, quickly duck sideways, dodge the claw, then take him out with his spinning back kick. Or B, take the claw in the face, then roll on the ground and die. Should have gone with A.
Tekken has a large roster of diverse characters with a variety of fighting styles and personalities. It is deservedly considered to be
This
one
is
of
the
the
last
greatest fighting game
bastion.
franchises of all
Oh my
time,
gosh.
and is as fun to play for new players as it is.
The last time I have a great time playing fighting games, bro. Tekken 7 was it, bro. It felt like a truly realized Tekken, bro. Not Tekken 5. Tekken 5 is the perfect example of back to basics. Perfect example of back to basics. And then we try to do innovation. Both Tekken 6 and 7. But 7 actually just, they show everything was connected well with 5 and 6. Tekken 8, I truly believe jumped the stroke there. It was sort of bad. But real bad stuff, I ain't gonna lie to you. Yikes.
Is for the pros. It makes excellent use of motion as the core of its gameplay.
Yes.
Intermediate to high level players incorporate the use of wave dashing and dash canceling to maneuver themselves into dominant positions or to escape from devastating beatdowns.
And freaking, before this bastard left, Harada hated the fact that people just backdashing endlessly. And he truly believed that at that moment, there wasn't true Tekken. He thought it was garbage that people were doing that backdashing. So don't know what he did? Weak backdashing. All offense. Never retreating. When you limit someone's agency to win a fight by hampering on the fact that not only the person can freaking backdash to avoid an attack, but you add shit damage, including with heat, and you let particular most moves that should you be homing on characters, or even basic moves to home on characters. Tracking. Why? At that, you have side steps too. Side steps. You made sidestepping irrelevant, Harada. What the point is I sidestep somebody and a particular move tracks me? I get destroyed because of that. Certain moves should be like homeable. Not majority of them. That's stupid. That's dumb game design. That limit my options to do any defense. Cause at that moment the only option is just fighting back via armored moves. And majority can't have armor moves, so I win most of my fights in Tekken 8 with armor moves. I took myself, damn, this is garbage. What am I doing here, bro? To the point I realized, yo, there's nothing fun about this. By adding all this heat crap, you just remove anything related to Tekken. At that point, just go back to Tekken 7, y'all. That's my PSA to y'all. Just go back to Tekken 7.
Rage arts add a layer of strategy to the game, and even though Rage drives have garnered a mixed response from some fans, they do keep players on their toes. Tekken at its core is a game about movement. One uses movement through 3D space to feel out an opponent in order to bait them into an attack or a position in which they can be punished. The highest level players are able to manipulate the movement engine of the game with techniques like the Korean backdash and incorporate the use of just frame moves that make for some really exciting stuff.
Yeah, now we just have heat. We have armor moves. We have tracking, homing. Um, Defense is worthless. Let's fight back. That's the only defense. Let's fight back. There's no point of freaking blocking. The majority of your freaking health get like freaking grind off. And God forbid if you get hit with a particular move that launch you in the air or freaking stun you, you're cucked. Just like that. Hook, line, and sinker. You're cucked. Cooked. Cooked.
Gameplay in Tekken has a defensive nature that creates an incentive for turtling and poking for openings in an opponent's defenses. This in itself is not a bad thing, but it can result in defensive characters like Jack showing up a lot in high-ranking competitive matches, which can tend to bore some casual observers. Tekken's roster of characters is decently balanced, But there are some characters that
No
get
one
passed
thinking
over
for
for
Panda,
others
bro.
when it
No
comes
one
to the
cares about
competitive
Panda like
scene.
that.
This is where the limitations of Tekken's depth begin to show themselves. There are some characters, like the bears for example, that just aren't considered to be as beneficial to use in high-level matches as other characters. This makes counterpicking a legitimate strategy for victory, which bothers.
Never forget that one dude one time was getting mocked for picking Panda for like a tournament, a major tournament that Harada was participating in. We're overseeing the tournament itself. Like just seeing what was going on over there. And he doubted how Panda could get the dub. But the guy who gets Panda, bro, ooh, the right frames with Panda, bro, cooked everybody. And he got the dub at the very end. And Harada had no choice but to give that dude respect, bro. I don't know, he nerfed Panda after that, but it was a long time ago, man. Ooh, that was like news back then, bro. Like Panda getting a tournament dub. That's how you know Tekken was amazing. Tekken 7, that is. I can't say the same for Tekken 8.
Me a tad because this means that some players are put at a disadvantage simply for character choice rather than their lack of skill. Also, as good as Tekken's game design is, there is a bit of jank here and there that results in weird and unfair situations occurring from time to time.
What? The fuck is going on?
That is.
I couldn't move it. What?
We could block, bro.
The crush
That's an
system
option.
is another example of the impressive complexity of Tekken's gameplay. This system employs the use of specific high and low attacks that are rendered
It
immune to
counters.
certain types of moves. In practice, high crushes are immune to damage from high attacks, and low crushes are immune to low attacks. Utilizing these attacks can result in some
There's the
strange-looking
tails, baby.
situations that are great for catching an opponent off guard. Mid-crushing does not technically exist, but there are
doesn't.
some special mids that can be low-crushed. The fact that there is not a hard and fast rule for this can
that's
frustrate
a
some
mid is
players by
crazy,
making them feel that Tekken's rules are not as consistent or logically intuitive as they perhaps ought to be. Also, while the number of inputs for each character's move list are considerable, more than a few of these are rendered as less than useful at the competitive level. An example of this is made evident by inputs such as the 10-hit string combos, many of which are easy to block or avoid and are thus unlikely to be of any effect against more seasoned players. As one
One thing I understand about Tekken, everything have its own flavor. Pick a character like King. Grappling is gonna be a thing no matter what. Or then take a character like Horon. He's all gonna do some mix-ups. It's gonna go crazy. Gotta predict it. Gotta read it. When you ain't cooked. Then there's the Mishimas. 50-50 kings right there. If you mess up one time, you're cooked. If you didn't, you better know how to play to body a particular Kazuya, Heihachi, Devil Jin. You know what I'm saying? Any Mishima S character. You know what I'm saying? But then you can put a regular Jin as a Mishima character because of the fact that he has his lightning ability. He can bust out, not similar to like Heihachi or Kazuya, but you know what I'm saying. Knowing how to beat those characters comes with a lot of character knowledge. If you don't care about that, just understand your own character. If you don't understand your own character, what are you doing playing fighting games, my G? Come on. What are you doing?
delves deeper into high-level play, a number of false choices begin to manifest themselves, which does significantly diminish the overall depth of the game. Many fans claim that Virtua Fighter boasts the deepest and most technical gameplay of all fighting games. Others, who are less familiar with the franchise, find themselves perplexed, if not put off, by the movement and controls of this series that come across as stiff and lacking in fluidity compared to other 3D fighters.
Oh my God.
This misunderstanding stems from the fact that button
I really disagree. Yeah. When you realize there are certain moves in Virtua Fighter you can't use and abuse, you gonna pay the consequences for that. I don't know, guys. Play Yakuza 2. I've been playing Yakuza 2 for a minute. And there are mini games you can play. Old mini games. There's two of them I like. Virtua Fighter 2 and another one. I forgot the name of it. It's a mecha fighting game. Yes, mecha fighting game made by Sega, which I truly believe if Sega wanted to, they could bring that fighting game back to the mainstream. And that would be killer. That would be a fun fighting game. It don't have no combos though. It's mainly just who can outlast the other one. It's just endurance tests. It's really flat out good endurance tests. Can you survive against the other mech guy, or can you not survive the other guy? That's what it is. There's not gonna be no like traditional combat going on, but it's really fun. I played a Virtual Fighter 2 one, but boy, I never sweated that much in a minute. I never rage quitted that hard in a fighting game. Period. It's like if you don't understand your character, like I said earlier, you're getting cooked. That was this old man was using. He was like a drunken master guy. Before that, it was the ninja guy, Hanzo. There was particular moves that the old man had that helped me through a lot. Yeah, I'm telling you, this is the arcade edition, so the CPU typically gonna rise up so much so that I was losing always on the fourth round with the fourth match within an arcade run. And when I got to Akira, I just rage quitted in the span of like what 30 matches in. I'm like, yo, I can't beat this dude. No matter what I do, I can't beat him because he's automatically countering me. Everything. This nasty ass input reads is disgusting, dude. Like, what can you do with that? I, I don't even know it is either it's a skill issue, I think it is mostly, or a mechanical issue where the CPU knows how to counter every move I got, and the reads is so instantaneous that I can't keep up. He always dusts me every time. It's insane. So button mashing in Virtual Fighter is a death sentence if you don't know your characters. No, forget it. Period. You don't know your characters. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Button mashing in Virtual Fighter is not the wave. Period.
Mashing in Virtua Fighter will get you absolutely nowhere. Even games as deep and complex as Tekken allow beginners to achieve some limited results against intermediate players by employing the practice of mashing buttons randomly.
Potato. Mashed potatoes.
Gameplay fluidity in Virtua Fighter is present at higher levels of play. As the more skilled the players are, the smoother and more dynamic the gameplay becomes.
Oh yeah.
Virtua Fighter's true
That's the old
complexity
man I'm
and
talking
depth
about.
are
That's the old man. That's the old man. He pretty confusing. If you don't know how to fight this old man, you're getting cooked. You don't know how to fight Akira, you're getting cooked. I think even in other Virtua Fighters, like the newer Virtua Fighter, like I say, for example, Virtua Fighter Revo 5, more or less a remaster of 5 itself, bro. 5 got some old man remasters. I don't even know who's strong. Period. I don't know who's strong. I won't say Akira, because Akira just his own boss. A main character as a boss character, insane work, insane work. And this is not an easy game to freaking course through, man. Like, if you can't be Akira, it is what it is. You gotta hold that L and keep it pushing, man. Man, I can't. That dude kicked my ass way too many times, bro.
veiled behind its simplicity. As you progress in ability, you come to realize part of what makes the game so unique is how strongly it emphasizes the fundamentals of its fighting system. We start with the foundation of rock, paper, scissors. In Virtua Fighter, strikes beat throws, guards beat strikes, and throws beat guarding. Since you need a standing guard to block a mid-attack, to protect yourself from a mid-attack throw mix-up, you can employ the use of the all-important fuzzy guard. If a mid-attack gets past your guard, you can still protect yourself from a throw by performing a crouching dash fuzzy guard. However, your opponent can use the guard button to delay an attack or throw in order to beat your fuzzy guard. If you are struck by a counter hit, you can't duck in time to avoid a throw, so you perform an evade throw escape by tapping up or down with punch plus guard. Or you could employ the throw escape guard, which allows you to buffer the guard button in order to defend against an attack following the throw escape depending on whether you are able to read your opponent's next attack.
Throw guy is very
Another
important in
technique
the
that
game.
adds to Virtua Fighter's
How do you survive
complexity
on
is that of the sabaki. This is an attack that appears normal on the surface, but has the special property of being able to cleanly win an exchange against a certain type of attack. Each of these concepts is simple to understand, but as layer upon layer of strategy is added, you begin to get a glimpse into what makes Virtua Fighter so special in terms of complexity, and we've only barely scratched the surface.
Oh yeah.
The roster is of average size, admittedly, compared
Man. When compared to all the fighting games you ever seen in your life, and then you see Virtua Fighter, you can't help but think like, oh, most of these guys are mad, bro. To me, the wrestling people, wrestling dudes, the the grapplers, this type of guys interest me more. The twins, what her name again? Sarah and who else? What's his name? Jeff or something? What is that? Yeah, Jackie. Jackie. It was Jackie. Jackie's cool. I like Vanessa. There's a guy who's really on him. She's what got his name? Was he like a judoka type of dude? Go. He was insane. He was insane. But compared to the style of every other fighting game, mid.
to many popular
And
fighting
mind you,
franchises,
Virtua Fighter 5 is a
but the
very
characters
old
have
game.
diverse fighting styles and sizable move lists, with hardly anything in them that is not useful on the competitive level. In fact, the unique character moves, coupled with the universal concepts we briefly touched on, make Virtua Fighter an incredibly balanced game, as each of its characters is a valid selection for optimal tournament play. As mentioned earlier, picking a character to counter your opponent's choice is a legitimately effective strategy in Tekken, but this is not the case in Virtua Fighter. Part of what makes this game so special is the sheer amount of viable strategies available to a player at any given moment with any character in any given situation. More than
In other words, anybody can literally beat anybody to the point where you don't feel bad about losing to a character because it's not how I don't think it had anything to do with counterplay at all, or picks against other characters because with all the available mechanics to use defensively, comes to dodging, you know, grab canceling, fuzzy guard, anything that help you like get out of a bad situation is available to any all characters, big or small, all characters. So there's never a case where, damn, bro, I can get better, but with these mechanics, how can I ever lose? Type beat, you know, you could lose, but become a master of the game itself, bro. I'm like, ooh, you got it down pat. You know how a good game is when you have like these amount of like defensive options and you can survive longer. Which I find very similar to Dead or Alive with the whole holding maneuvers and a guard button thing. Like crazy, bro. That's a lot.
most other games, Virtua Fighter requires you to fight against your human opponents by getting inside their heads. Everything about Virtua Fighter, from its movement system to its offensive and defensive mechanics, is about Yomi. The term Yomi is a Japanese word that is used to convey the idea of being able to know the mind of an opponent in such a way that you are able to either read and anticipate their actions or control them in such a way that you know their next move.
I read the arc with Musashi and Baki. The read stuff is real. Period. That's insane, bro. The concept by itself has been going on for a minute now. But this can actually make or break a fight if no one can participate anybody's moves. Period, bro. If you can't anticipate it, what's coming, how to plan accordingly, you getting cooked. Once again, gotta lock in. It's important.
Yomi as a concept is epitomized in Virtua Fighter because the player is not limited to a specific set of choices based on the selection of a specific character. This game requires you to constantly adapt your playstyle and tendencies, as learning one specific string of combos and doing them over and over again will get you destroyed in high-level games. It has been noted by professionals that part of the magic of Virtua Fighter is that every competitor can play a character uniquely from anyone else because various playstyles can make the same character look completely different. Each match is all about facing your opponent, not so much your opponent's character.
Oh, beautifully said. And now, like a crazy thing, in the context of Virtua Fighter, you're not counter-picking characters. You trying to beat the player right next to you, or in front of you, or online. And not a matter of counter-picking. It's a matter of like, or skill whatsoever. It's a matter of like the reads you gotta do, and people just reacting. You're not reading. You're not out here anticipating what move you're gonna do next. That can't be like learned or taught in a way. Yeah, this thing can't be taught. The whole reading of like moveset of what player can do next can't be learned if you haven't drove yourself to fight a long sets of battle or long sets of matches with other players around the world and just get it like that. You know what I'm saying? Reads are not that easy to like do on the whim. It had to be taught. It had to be forced on you. You had to like experience like a bunch of loss and wins just to get them leads going. That's what I believe. If you ask anyone else, that's really what I believe. First and foremost. Full start. Full stop bar none. Reads are very important. Now, if only I have found a way to like play fighting games every day without having my freaking thumb burning with blisters.
Many have claimed that Virtua Fighter is overly complex and thus too difficult for the majority of fighting game enthusiasts to get into.
Bull.
This is a misconception as the
Bull. No, I'll let him finish. No, I'm not gonna finish. I'm gonna finish.
mechanics and command inputs of the game are actually quite simple to grasp and not overly difficult to execute.
Yeah.
What is difficult is being able to react fast enough to have an effective response to situations that change each second. Unlike most fighting
But this can vary from people to people. At a certain point in time, your reaction speed to people will probably slow down mentally because you're just trying to enjoy the fun, trying to enjoy the game. If you're trying to like interact with speed, once again, you gotta know your characters, the strengths and weaknesses, and adapt to that whoever you're fighting against. And here's the part about counter picking in fighting games as a whole. If the person trying to counter pick you with a character that you love, either you take that L or you use every fundamentals you have that you learn in fighting games to get that dub, no matter what happens. Get that dub. You basically win the day, and keep it pushing. What you got to go into is very important for everybody to understand. 2D or 3D. Reads come with experience, with that good analytical skill. You know, that good eye coordination. What's positive, what's negative, what's neutral. And that's where Fussy comes in, bro. If you don't know what to do, use your best moves from your characters and get into a Fussy battle. To me, that's a way to reset the match, the flow of the match, to just know what to do next. Because a person not gonna like go into you if you're not like busting out no moves to like do a decent reach to your opponent to like have him back off. You just gotta know what to do. You have to. You just gotta think on the fly. You just wanna have fun. Just ball off, man. Go with it. Doesn't matter to me.
games that reveal their limitations in high-level play, Virtua Fighter only becomes more fluid, more complex, and more in-depth as the skill of its players increase. When other fighting games limit players at a competitive level, Virtua Fighter truly begins to open up the full extent of its possibilities. Based on the criteria given previously, Virtua Fighter is deeper than Tekken because it has greater balance, more consistent rules, a greater number of viable options available to the player, and overall fewer false choices than that of other fighting game franchises. And so what? Does that mean that Virtua Fighter is better and more fun and enjoyable than Tekken? Not necessarily.
It's really depending on the avenue you want to go down to. If you want a true death fighting game experience, which Tekken are you talking about? Because the up-to-date versions of the new Virtual Fighter with Revo or the new Virtual Fighter 6 coming out, we haven't seen nothing of Virtual Fighter 6. You saw a basic demo reel of what was going on. But that was the alpha footage though, so it's not definitive. But it is something to look forward to. Boy, it's been like almost a year and a half, I think, since we've seen that. And then we compared to Tekken 8. Now, if you like having fun with the heat, by all means, that's you. I don't care about that. You're not opting to shut it off. The only way you could do it is just turn off heat early on in the match. Then you have a proper Tekken match without the freaking heat BS. Or dash cancel with heat. Oh gosh, dude. I'm going on about it. But if you ask me, core concept, the fundamental to fighting games, period. Like, what's a better game? I'll give it to Virtual Fighter. I'm serious. If you ask me, it is Virtual Fighter. I tried it myself. Not all of it, but a core concept with everything going on. When it comes to defensiveness, offensiveness, movement, game mechanics, everything else. I just give it Virtual Fighter. At least they keep their core identity through and through. No hiccups, no mishaps, no drastic innovation. Flat out Virtual Fighter. This is the end of the video. Now, let me finish off. Let me finish off with this, then we end it off right here.
Please understand that I am not trying to belittle Tekken in any way, or claim that one game is objectively better than the other. It all depends on the personal tastes of the player and what that player is looking for.
What was that?
It all depends.
Hold on. What am I looking at here? I don't know where it's from, but this is interesting. Killers define a focus on a winning rank, direct peer-to-peer competition. That's any kind of sweat fighting game like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, King of Fighters. Tekken include that too. Fine. Focus on attending, status, and achieving preset goals quickly and completely. Go ahead and Tekken as well. Let's say 7. Not much. Maybe 8. I think 8 is an easier game than 7 because of the heat and all that BS, the lack of defense. So that makes sense. Socialites. I'll focus on socializing. Oh yeah, if you want to make some friends and find games, cool. That's an option right there. I think the majority of what people do. Period. I don't know where you got this from. Explorers. Exploring and drive to discover the unknown. I think I can put myself in the category of like exploring stuff because I never want to like stick to just 2D and 3D. In a sense of like I don't want to stick with just Tekken or just Street Fighter, you know. Like it's the easiest fighting game to get into. But other fighting games out there that who like do a lot of innovation. Like I got for example, I got into Guilty Gear because of Blaze Blue. Blaze Blue, it was designed based on the original cast of Guilty Gear, like inspirations. It was known as the spiritual successor to Guilty Gear. When Guilty Gear came back, I was full on it, and I understand why Guilty Gear is so good. How the mechanics, how the style, the tone, and the the style and the feel of the game, fluidity of like combos from each other, and the dynamic and music too go with everything together all in one package. The Revelator arrow is amazing, bro. X-Jar and the Revelators. Oh my god, it's good stuff. Good stuff. And before that, I played the older Guilty Gears too. French kiss, bro. With Strive, I understand why they went for the route with Strive to be a more or less easier version of even the original Guilty Gear compared to um Exard as well. Just bringing more people. And it brought a lot of people in the mix. And even though most of the characters have their move sets removed or improved on, or just not removed, mostly removed. It's whatever, man. It what is. It can be a somewhat fun game, but it also can be like very boring. The moment you feel like you're comfortable with everything else. Let me just continue with this video, man. Let me have it.
Depends on the personal tastes of the player and what that player is looking for in a fighting game. I don't think that Tekken is even trying to be as deep of a game as Virtua Fighter in the first place.
Hell no.
Tekken is flashy, over-the-top, silly fun with great characters and rewarding gameplay that can be enjoyed for months or even years. Both games are different types of fighting experiences that appeal to different subgroups of gamers. My purpose in comparing Virtua Fighter's depth to that of Tekken's is merely to demonstrate the importance of the Virtua Fighter franchise to the fighting game genre and the gaming industry as a whole. As Yoshinori Ono, producer of Street Fighter IV, once said, "The way the game requires players to build on their attacks to create an offensive flow really shows how deep Virtua Fighter is. It's no exaggeration to say that Virtua Fighter is the game by which all fighting games are measured."
Ooh.
Virtua Fighter's depth is just one of the aspects that...
That is a big quote from the boy himself. Dude's retired, man. Enjoying his millions. Along with Harada, too. Oh my goodness, bro. When the OGs of the developers of old style fighting games are gone, bro, that's how you know fighting games as a whole will surely be dead. Probably in the next couple of years. I think as long as Street Fighter is still like Street Fighter, um, I think as long as the core identity remain intact, Street Fighter will never die. Really, it'll always be like evolve or transform to something else, but the core concept should be remain the same. If you change the core concept to anything else besides what you established up with yourself with from the very beginning, you're cooked. Your game's franchise is done. Finito. Done. Gone. Don't care.
make it the most important 3D fighter of all time. I know that I barely scratched the surface of both games' intricacies, but I hope I did a better job this time of giving some specific reasons for why Virtua Fighter has a depth that is unmatched, even by the likes of worthy adversaries like Tekken.
In other
even
words,
if you still disagree with me, I hope we can still be friends. Maybe we could even play a match sometime.
I get it, bro.
With that, I'm going to bring this video to a close.
Thank you, dude. Listen, Virtua Fighter Bros, appreciate you, man. I don't know if you still got some stuff cooking as we speak, but you did reply to somebody. At least, what, two people? Let's start from the bottom right here. 7 months ago. I just prefer Tekken because the character effects are more over the top and flat. Yo, you said it yourself, man. No one going against it. That's your opinion. Nothing saying, hey, you can't like that. No one's saying that, bro. People not paying attention. What's wrong with people? I swear. People not listening at all. On quantifiable mechanic strats you brought up as example, namely fuzzy and solidity. Just both versatile. The DOA has them too. Of course. Not saying they don't. Obviously, I just mentioned that in the video. Into who can hit the side crumble. First kind of game. Oh no, he's right about that. I see that. Oh yeah, the crushing things in freaking DOA and 5 and 6 was truly the rise and fall of that game. Period. Anyway, last comment before I head out. Virtua Fighter is better game series, but Tekken is more entertaining franchise because of the character. Yeah. It's basically a cartoon. Tekken is a cartoon. It's a freaking cartoon while Virtua Fighter still maintains its martial arts aesthetics. Like all the moves you've seen in Virtua Fighter, yeah, yeah. Hey, you can see that happening in real life. You can see some of these moves you doing in Tekken, same thing. But in Virtua Fighter, you can't help but feel like these characters are real. They're doing real moves right in front of you. The whole lifting up crap is, yeah, it's like, it's whatever. But that's pretty much it. Not whatever, but mainly just authentic, to say the least. That's my reaction. Going over 50 minutes here, bro. It's so crazy. I didn't want to go that long. I had a lot of take and a lot of gripes with going on in the fighting game community right now. And boy, we need Virtual Fighter. Virtual Fighter 6 can't come here fast enough. Pause. So, like, comment, subscribe. You want more of these reactions. This video is very old. And I love it. It still maintains its um you know, watchability after all these years. Shout out to Virtual Boy Bros. Love to see more of his content. And if you want to make some more stuff in the future, I'm gonna keep an eye out for that. Zombie out officially. So y'all be safe, be easy, and be chilled. Man, Virtual Bros, you are that dude. No cap.